They were young, talented, and picture perfect.
Britney was just like your all-American girl next door. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Here's Britney.
The Mouseketeers were also well-trained.
They made me go in and put a cork in my mouth and learn how to speak properly.
They domesticated us like animals.
But off-camera, the Disney mice were untamable.
Yeah!
I was fired for conduct on becoming a mouse.
There's really only so much you can do to try and control a bunch of teenagers with raging hormones.
Growing up on national television was tough.
We were teenagers, so we were going to have our differences.
It was drama, for sure.
And when the curtain came down, reality bit hard.
And it was so devastating. Okay, what am I supposed to do now?
It looked as if she had said, okay, you want a meltdown, America? Here's your meltdown.
In the next 90 minutes, exclusive home movies.
Hi, camera. I'm gonna break that camera, shut up.
And new interviews.
Are you having fun today?
Take you behind the scenes of the show that launched some of today's biggest superstars.
You can almost see their path, the fire that they left behind them as they were trying to blaze a trail as quickly as possible.
This is the story of the Mickey Mouse Club, the true Hollywood story.
Please tell me I will always be a Mouseketeer.
Okay, everybody, check it out.
Brittany, Christina, Justin, Carrie, Ryan. 3 pop icons, 1 movie goddess, and an Oscar-nominated actor. 5 superstars with one thing in common. They started out on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club.
People look at it as not this, not this cheesy show, but this really talented group of kids at that time who are now kind of breaking out in their own ways.
Christina had told me that a couple of the younger kids had made a vow to become stars one day, had promised each other, that they were going to do this. And I just thought, well, of course you are.
It's all happening, so it's pretty surreal at times, but it's so much fun to be doing what I'm doing and to be living my dream.
The music industry, I love it. It's my heart, my soul, and, I'll always be a singer.
People screaming at you when you're on stage and there's, 18,000 people in a venue and everyone's excited, that doesn't get old.
For more than 50 years, the Mickey Mouse Club was an American institution that showcased the best young talent in the country. But it was the class of 1993 that really shook things up. Disney looked everywhere to find the new Mouseketeers.
They wanted really typical kids. But the kids that got weeded out were the kids who arrived in, their leotards and their dance costumes, and anybody whose hair was in rollers when they got there, I think, got eliminated immediately.
Except if they had star quality. Case in point, Christina Aguilera.
Christina was a freak of nature with that voice, because that voice that she has right now, she had when she was 12.
Originally, she had the glasses and everything. She was just like so awkward, but you couldn't deny her for 1 second. As soon as she opened her mouth, it would take your breath away.
She had a Toni Braxton, Aretha Franklin kind of mesh of stuff going on from this porcelain-skinned, little blonde-headed, curly-headed girl. How is that possible? And she and Brittany were really close. They'd hold hands and skip around a lot.
Now, there's Christina.
Arms her leg and pulls it.
Here's Brittany.
11-year-old Britney Spears was fresh from Louisiana.
Britney was the shortest and the tiniest. She was just the sweetest little, cuddliest little. My initial reaction was, she's too good. She's too nice for this business.
There you go, Britt. Here's Brittany.
Ryan Gosling enjoyed more than just performing.
I remember Ryan being this, adorable little 12-year-old womanizer. I mean, he was sexy at 12.
He had a different crush on a different one of us every week. He would be in love with Alana, and then the next week he'd be in love with me, then he'd be in love with Lindsay. He was a heartbreaker.
The daily 30-minute variety show was shot at the Disney MGM Studios theme park in Orlando, Florida. For visitors, the Mouseketeers were a main attraction.
The tourists actually walk through an upper level, looking down on us through a window, watching us rehearse and watching us actually live in performance.
We're in an aquarium, and there's, every 5 minutes, there's like 40 to 75 people walking by, looking in, watching us. We're just like, where does it end? When do you stop performing for somebody?
They had like a backstage tour, and the trams would literally go by the windows.
In fact, they made us work on Saturday because it was a big day for tourists.
Some fans did more than gawk.
There was this one fan who sent me some kinky care package. I'm 15, and it was like silk boxers, a bottle of cologne, and a gold chain, and like some baby oil. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm a Mouseketeer, we're crying out loud. I'm not Bon Jovi.
But being a Mouseketeer wasn't all fun and games. It was showbiz boot camp.
We got to work with the cameras. We got to learn about blocking and lighting and learning your lines. We worked with musical directors and all like the top choreographers at the time. It was such a stepping stone in learning about the industry on all levels. It was great. It was the best kind of education that you could possibly get.
3, 2, 1, contact.
They definitely gave us some classes about what you should talk about, what you shouldn't talk about, how to conduct yourself while you were in the park.
Keeping track of the mice was a logistical challenge for the grown-ups in charge.
25 people in hair, makeup, and wardrobe, 5 days a week, and shooting sketches, music numbers, music videos, games. No one has ever tried that. A daily variety show. And then don't put seasoned adults, put teenagers in there. That was a really bold and expensive thing to do.
Chris, are you having fun today?
I really now look back and I don't know how they maintained order, because 3 would be in dance class, 2 would be recording, 3 would be shooting something on location. There was something constantly being shot, rehearsed at some time during that day.
And for cast and crew, pleasing network execs was a never-ending job.
Everyone was obsessive about the show. It was dedication and obsessiveness. I would get notes from them after doing a complex number equivalent to a Broadway show. Once they would see the final cut, I would get a note like the time code, Tiffany blinked, if change the shot, or else reshoot the entire number. I was fighting a deadline. That made things very difficult.
Disney was very specific and careful about what was presented on the Mickey Mouse Club. I mean, the kids wanted sometimes to create edgier material, do different things on the show, but it was tough to get anything on there that wasn't really within a certain box of what was acceptable on the Mickey Mouse Club. At the end of the day, Disney would decide what would go on the air.
It's like, well, okay, that's really hilarious. Can we air it?
As the show progressed and garnered more attention, I mean, I think they tried to do things that were savvier and hipper. But of course, they couldn't do anything too savvy or too hip because it was Disney, and they were kind of going through everything with a fine-tooth comb all the time.
The producers and the staff had found ways of really setting up the boundaries enough to where they gave us just enough leeway, but they domesticated us, really, you know, like animals. They just learned how to make us want to be good.
Coming up, a bad boy gets the axe.
I was fired for conduct unbecoming a mouse.
And later,
I was pretty infatuated with her. I think I did give her her first kiss.
Please
When people think of famous Mickey Mouse Club alumni, Brittany, Christina, and Justin come to mind. But the Mouse Machine was actually part of a Disney tradition that began decades earlier. In July 1955, Walt Disney's first theme park, Disneyland, opened in Anaheim, California. 3 months later, the Mickey Mouse Club debuted on ABC.
Disney Corporation had invented something called synergy, which is where each division feeds the other, and the Mickey Mouse Club was part of that. Our task, truly, was to make Disneyland a success.
5 days a week, 24 wholesome kids made the rest of America feel like part of the Disney family.
It was completely new television, a variety show for kids.
These kids were playing themselves. They weren't acting a role. You related to those kids because that's who they were.
Walt Disney himself discovered the club's breakout star, aspiring ballerina Annette Funicello.
He said, "I liked your dancing. Now, can you sing a song?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't sing." So that's been the running gag all these years. Annette doesn't sing.
Uncle Walt was ever present.
We played cards with him backstage. He would joke with us. He would talk with us.
He had a lot of input into the Mickey Mouse Club. We'd see him in the back of the soundstage. He watched our rushes every day.
Still, Mr. Disney made the rules, and every Mouseketeer was expected to obey, as 9-year-old Paul Peterson learned the hard way.
I was so small, they called me Mouse, and I hate nicknames. The head of casting, big, heavy-set man, snuck up behind me on a Friday afternoon and said, "Hey, Mouse, how you doing?" and gave me a punch on the shoulder, and I turned around and punched him in the stomach and said, "Don't call me that, fatso." And standing behind the casting director was Walt Disney. And I was, when I got home that afternoon, discharged, fired for conduct unbecoming a mouse.
4 years later, the whole cast got canned when ABC execs canceled the Mickey Mouse Club. Annette segued onto the big screen, starring in a string of 60s beach movies.
You know, the only thing I've studied this semester is you.
Well, I hope you don't flunk.
Hollywood wasn't as kind to her fellow Mouseketeers.
Some of them were left with a sense of something missing, particularly for the females on the show who did not measure up to Annette's success, a sort of bitterness. Because these were all enormously talented people. But by this time, they had also been thrown back into the bruising world of reality. They were back in school, and they were teased unmercifully by being Mouseketeers.
In 1976, Doreen Tracy tried to shed her Disney past by posing for a men's magazine.
She grew up fast, much faster than I did. And she wanted to hang on to that fame in her way. And she did these photographs.
Doreen is a pretty tough, smart, and durable woman. And she knew what she was doing.
Tracy's stunt didn't generate much buzz. In later years, she worked as an executive secretary and wrote short stories on the side. Paul Peterson kept acting, with a long-running gig on The Donna Reed Show. As an adult, he formed a non-profit organization to help support other former child stars through hard times.
When you take away a good chunk of a child's childhood, there will be consequences, and you better be there for them when the work stops, because the work stops for nearly everybody.
But for a generation of Americans, the Mickey Mouse Club was a memorable part of their childhood. So in 1976, Disney decided to revive the beloved show. The new Mickey Mouse Club premiered in January 1977.
Everything was upbeat, you know? And then when we got our costumes, it's like, yeah, this is funky, man. You know, we had our bell bottoms. I mean, it was full color, you know. Everything was gonna be different.
There were 12 of us, and of the 12, there were 8 girls and 4 boys, and we all came from different kind of backgrounds.
They wanted it to look much more like what the United States looked like at that point than in the 50s. And it wasn't going to be all about talent. It was going to be about personality and charisma. And so there really was a really great cross-section.
My dad was kind of like, hey, you're the first black Mouseketeer.
But the new Mickey Mouse Club only lasted 1 season. The end came as a shock to the entire cast.
It was doing well from what we understood, and then all of a sudden it was canceled. So I still don't know.
None of us were ready for it. We were planning for another season. And they came down with the axe. It broke all of our little hearts.
Despite its short run, the show proved a launching pad for some ambitious Mouseketeers.
From there, I went and did Three's Company, Quincy, all these old shows, and then eventually I landed the show The Facts of Life. Lisa, one of the other Mouseketeers, also was on the show, which is really ironic.
Lisa Welchel found fame playing the snobby character Blair.
Scott Dunbar just called. Oh, he sounds so classy. I just hope he's not disappointed in me. I'm sure he won't be. Just remember to park your tractor outside. Blair, if you don't think I'm good enough for him, hey, I'm just kidding. Park your tractor anywhere you want.
Lisa and Julie eventually left show business to focus on motherhood.
After The Facts of Life went off the air, I just concentrated on being a full-time wife and mom. My children weren't responding to traditional child-rearing methods, and I had to get creative. I wrote my first book, Creative Correction, and I didn't have any desire to be a writer, and I've written, I think, a dozen since then.
Looking back now and having kids of my own, who, when we went to Disney World for the first time, you know, and I saw their mouths drop open, I thought, wow, Mommy was a part of all this, you know, that was cool.
But not all the Mouse Club graduates were able to keep their careers or their lives on track. Billy Pop Atmore suffered a series of personal setbacks.
I went through a really rough period. I got hit by a school bus. It took me a while to heal. I just had a real bad string of luck, man. I got hit in a high-speed pursuit chase. The car was going 95 miles an hour and just, you know, hit me. And I even had some, driving in the wrong part of town and had some bullet holes in my car, you know? It just seemed like I shouldn't be here, but here I stand.
Pop never lost hope.
Today, I work as an eligibility worker for the County of Los Angeles. And just got married a couple of years ago. And I have a kid on the way, a baby daughter. I wrote a book, you know, it's called Broken Dreams, and we're working on getting it out there right now. I write, and I write, and I write to purge my soul. I write.
Coming up, a mouse goes down.
Everybody's singing and dancing, and all of a sudden I look and see somebody keel over on screen.
By 1988, the Disney MGM Studios theme park was set to open in Orlando, Florida. Disney Brass launched a major promotional campaign that included a brand new gang of Mouseketeers. Producers cast a nationwide net to catch the perfect mice.
Matt Casella went out across North America and looked everywhere, high and low. He probably saw 50,000 kids.
A dozen youngsters made the final cut. So did two grown-ups, hosts Fred Newman and Moeva Pryor.
Well, welcome to our clubhouse.
What do you think of it? You like it?
Hi, my name is Lindsay Alley, and I'm from Lakeland, Florida.
I'm Albert Fields. I'm 14 years old, and I'm from Gary, Indiana. You sound extremely mellow today, Albert.
But the biggest challenge was how to give the classic show a 90s makeover.
Believe it or not, we had looked at Mickey himself. They allowed us to mature the contours of his face, and then we put him in a rugby shirt. We made him more hip-looking, and that made a very big difference. And from there, we started looking at the Mouseketeers. We decided there would be no ears.
A wardrobe gave us a budget and let us go to the mall. So that was amazing to be like 12 years old, running free through the mall and just going, yeah, we want to wear this and that. And of course, it was all hip, edgy stuff. And then one of the higher-ups said there wasn't enough unification between the kids. So we're not going to put ears on you, but we were thinking about maybe uniforms.
You guys are up. Here we go.
We were just like this. We were just like, hi, I'm Chase. Just stiffening, and I mean, we didn't really help to sell that whole idea, of course.
We were just total brats about it. Well, obviously it worked, because we didn't have to wear it, and I'm sure everyone thanks us for that now.
Season 1 began production in January 1989 at the new Florida theme park. For some Mouseketeers, that meant splitting up their families.
My mom was actually my manager at the time, so she picked up and left with me. My dad stayed back in California, back home here with my sisters.
Other mice roomed at a nearby apartment complex.
I think 10 of the original families, we all were put up at the Vinings. So we were working together and then obviously living in the same complex. 12-year-old boys getting into trouble, riding bikes, you know, knocking on doors, running away. And the pool and the hot tub was the big hangout.
We're here in the van, heading over to MGM Studios.
But on set, the kids were kept busy.
A typical day in the Mickey Mouse Club started around 9 o'clock, and they liked to organize our school time to get it out of the way in the beginning of the day.
I'm doing my history. I love that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Only 3 hours of school, which was like a piece of cake. It was awesome.
We kind of rotated the kids through their science room, their social studies room, their math room, as they went from one subject to another. These students came from different states, and there were 7 different grades, and they had all these curricula that we, you know, the schools would send us books, would send us the lessons.
It was a very full day. All that on top of line, memorizing, and everything else for the show.
It wasn't kid-friendly that first season. I think they were still working out a lot of the kinks. You know, it would be kind of exhausting for 13, 14-year-olds to come home and just like crash, you know. Next morning, do it all over again.
Still, the Mouseketeers found time to create chaos.
13-year-olds were ruling the whole rebellious movement in the Mickey Mouse Club. They were driving the golf carts around. They were mooning people all over the place.
We were raging hormones at the time, too. I mean, we were 13, 14, all the guys, you know, so we'd be picking on the, you know, trams, telling the guys, you know, we want to meet that one, we want to meet that one, we want... So they were pulling them off the trams, and, you know, we were just hanging out with them.
They did not want the boys to wear earrings, piercings. Of course, just please don't swear in front of guests. Please don't take clothes off or moon anyone on the tram. You know, things that you would think were understood, except if you're a teenage boy. So.
Then there were the parents.
The script would come out, then came the deluge, the complaints. My daughter sings better than so-and-so. My son should have had more lines. Why isn't he in that sketch? We have nothing to do this week. We're gonna quit. I swear we're going to quit after this season. So it was a matter of just keeping everybody calm.
The all-new Mickey Mouse Club premiered on April 24th, 1989. The show was a hit, especially with teenage girls.
Somebody came up and said, "Go look what's in the front, what's in the front row of the live audience. You know, you're not gonna believe this." So I went and looked, and there was a very, very sweet young girl, and she had a T-shirt on, airbrushed, that said, you know, "I love Damon."
If you wanted an ego boost, all you had to do was just run through a little gate, and there's the Cast Club. You know, it was awesome. You know, I'm a little redhead guy from Oklahoma. I never got noticed there. You know, and all of a sudden now I'm cute now. How'd that happen? You know, so, we were definitely working it.
For the 100th episode, producers brought in some special guests, the original Mouseketeers from 1955. The pressure was on to create an unforgettable episode. But during a musical number, one of the young mice collapsed.
One of my Mouseketeers, Damon Pampolina, hadn't eaten anything, and before going on stage, he grabbed a pile of M&Ms and shoved it in his mouth. Then he took one of those huge bottles of cola, and he shoved it down, guzzled it down, and he went on stage.
Everything I was doing was just full throttle.
At one point, Damon had to leap from the counter to the ground, and he would always throw himself into this. He did it about 3 times and fainted.
And I'm watching the dancing from the monitor, everybody's singing, I'm dancing, and all of a sudden I look and see somebody keel over on screen. The press was there, and the mother screamed out, "Oh my gosh!"
When Damon fainted on set, it was horrible. It was very scary. It was probably embarrassing for him because, you know, Annette was there and Bobby was there and all these people, you know, we looked up to, and we knew were important people were there, and we were trying to be on our best behavior. So it couldn't have been a worse time. And he fell, went down, and he did stay down for long, but, you know, it was drama, for sure.
He had a sugar high and he crashed. He was fine. I was not. The next day, I was paraded in the Orlando Sentinel.
But all the hard work didn't go unrewarded. In the fall of 1989, cast and crew gathered together for a special celebration.
Disney had planned a very dignified wrap party with, like, you know, a buffet. At the end, Fred stood up to make a speech to say how grateful he was to be working with such a great group of people, and to show his gratitude, he had a gift for us. And if we would all come outside, we would receive our gifts.
I have a very brief speech. Everybody come in here. Come on in here.
I bought 250 banana cream pies through the commissary, and I had a truck deliver them out and had the props people put out tables. Well, everyone knew it was supposed to happen.
It was just slow motion. We were like, yeah! And it's like out of a movie, man. Here comes another one. Pow!
It became like a war. It was like a, you know, an hour-long pie fest.
And it was amazing because in the heat of Florida, the cream, the pie, once you were hit with it, it froze into like cement. And it was all over the street.
We ruined the Disney lot back there. They had to bring in a fire truck just to spray all the custard off the street.
The cleanup for that, I think, cost a small fortune. So I think they billed it to Fred, which was hilarious.
It was worth every penny.
As the all-new Mickey Mouse Club evolved, mice came and went. 14-year-old Mylyn Brooks and 12-year-old Ricky Luna joined the cast for season 3.
I think they auditioned that year. It was about 22,000 kids. And they picked 5, and I was one of them.
Ricky Luna came from the Flying Lunas, a circus family. We needed more people like that. I think the show was still too straight-laced and not ethnic enough and not representative of America enough.
And when I heard that one of those kids was going to be an Asian girl, and she's half Filipino, half Caucasian, I thought that my job was going to be done.
When I first got on the Mickey Mouse Club, I was from Oklahoma, and I had a really strong hick accent. And I think it was a little weird because I was Filipino with this hick accent. So they made me go in and put a cork in my mouth and learn how to speak properly.
Season 4 brought even more new faces, including Tony Luca, J.C. Chazé, and Carrie Russell. Conflicts were unavoidable.
We were teenagers, so we were going to have our differences.
We were pretty much thrown together.
There was a lot of cliques. We were just like a very small little junior high.
And they ended up bringing in a counselor for us. She ended up explaining to all of us, you know, like a psychotherapist does, how you deal with problems, you know, and how to talk to people the right way.
Between seasons, blending in back home was just as tricky.
All of a sudden, wow, I had a whole new sense of myself and of style and music and the way I wore my hair and the clothes I wore. And it came back all sort of flamboyant and just sort of trying to maintain this little mojo that I had recently picked up. And the friends weren't having it, man.
It was tough, you know, being in the Mickey Mouse Club, going back to your school. It was tough. People would make fun of me. It wasn't the easiest part of the whole process.
Coming up.
We were all at my house one night playing one of those, spin the ball games, and somebody dared him to kiss.
And later, the claws come out.
It's crazy that the press wants to create such rivalry and competition, and people say that we catfight and everything.
Despite a revolving door of Mouseketeers, the all-new Mickey Mouse Club continued to rule the Disney Channel. Execs decided to make the most of their success, this time by spinning off a musical act.
The party was a pop group that was put together with the help of Hollywood Records, which is Disney's first record label. We were kind of their guinea pigs. They just picked 5 kids from the Mouse Club and said, okay, we want to form a group. And let's try it out. We'll see what happens.
Damon Pampolina, Tiffany Hale, Albert Fields, Chase Hampton, and Dee Dee Magno were elected.
At the time, New Kids on the Block was really, really popular. And I think that they just wanted to make this diverse group of kids, and we were like a rainbow color of kids. We looked like a Benetton ad. But there were 5 of us, 2 girls and 3 guys, and we toured around the country. We promoted our album, and we played all sorts of places.
We were on tour with Vanilla Ice. We were on tour with Taylor Dane, High Five. It was nuts. We were doing 25,000 seaters a night. We were pretty spoiled at this time because the Hollywood Records, we were the first band there, so they were just throwing money at it.
So we would say, we want to work with Dr. Dre. And next thing you know, they were setting up meetings with Dr. Dre. It was almost like anything we wanted at our fingertips.
Back at the clubhouse, Network Brass wanted to add some fresh faces to attract more young viewers. In early 1993, a massive casting call began. Out of 24,000 kids, only 24 made it to the final round of auditions in Orlando, Florida. Among the hopefuls, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, Jessica Simpson, and TJ Fantini.
They had us in dance classes, and they had us working on our monologues and voice lessons and all kinds of different stuff to prepare for the big audition, which was at the end of the 4-day period.
TJ gave one of the best auditions of anybody who came in. He absolutely nailed the audition.
I don't think I gave anybody a 10. The best, I think I gave Christina on her vocals was the highest, 9 to 9.5. I gave her room to grow. Justin did terrific across the board, but he was still raw. Same thing with Britney, very good, nice girl, sign her. Ryan Gosling, very good kid, sign him.
Jessica had a lot of good things going for her. She wasn't quite ready for what they wanted on the Mouse Club.
Simpson didn't make the cut, but 7 new mice did, including 11-year-old Britney and 12-year-olds Justin, Ryan, TJ, and Christina.
The Mickey Mouse Club was the first time where I was around other kids that enjoyed doing the same thing as me.
And they were really legitimately talented and could do all this amazing stuff.
Say hi, Justin. Well, he needs his makeup too. Is she doing a good job on your hair?
Yep. I remember sort of feeling a little territorial at the time. Like, who are these people? Who are these kids infiltrating our territory?
We almost just were offended, you know? We were like, look at the producers and like, what are we supposed to do with this, you know? But give them a hard time. You have forced us to, you know, commence the hazing rituals. I think there was something about some urine and an ice tray. Yeah, really, really rotten stuff.
Still, the newcomers idolized senior Mouseketeers like Carrie Russell, J.C. Chazé, and Tony Luca.
You have people that you look up to, you try to emulate them and you try to be like them. So a lot of times when they would come in a certain kind of jeans, we would go out and buy the same jeans the next day. If they had a fancy chain wallet, we'd find a fancy chain wallet too. I mean, you know, they were essentially our older brothers and sisters.
After a few weeks, me and JC had, you know, mini-me's. Justin and Ryan were walking around like, you know, they're asking everybody, where did Tony and JC shop?
Justin, Ryan, and I were the new guys on the show. And it was all about filling Tony's shoes. It was all about who's gonna be the next Tony. We wanna be like Tony. I mean, like, we would follow this guy around like there was nobody's business.
And of course, the younger girls, the 11, 12-year-olds, would look at Carrie and go, you know, that's what they aspired to be.
TJ, what's going on?
Carrie, when she was parading around in the studios, some days she would come in and like, you know, stop traffic. So when, you know, Britney and Christina came down and saw that, they saw Princess Leia, you know, I gotta be like that. And then they wanted to just wear less around their bellies.
Christina couldn't wait to grow up.
We always used to tease her about being flat-chested. And she would turn to us and be like, one day, have you seen my mom's boobs? I'm gonna have big boobs one day.
Say hi to the camera, Christina.
Hi, camera.
Say, Brittany, she's leaving. Say bye, Brittany.
Brittany was hot at 12. The girls always said to the wardrobe department, why can't we wear tight clothes like Brittany does? And they say to us, she's 12. It doesn't matter, she's 12. And we say, she doesn't look 12. in the things you're putting her in. We could not understand why they would put her in all sorts of little itty-bitty outfits, you know, and we had to wear vests and jackets.
The Mouseketeers went through puberty in front of the entire country.
I think it was good for other kids going through the same thing at the time to feel like, okay, well, you know, at least there's somebody on TV who looks as gawky and awkward as I do, with, you know, bad skin and, you know, awkward boobs and braces. I was hot, really hot. Oh my God.
The Mickey Mouse Club was arguably one of the most stable things in my life. When you put it up against battling hormones and being a teenager and does he like me, am I cute, you know, all the things that are changing as you're changing, the Mickey Mouse Club and what I was supposed to do on that show really didn't change that much.
I learned about sex ed in the hair and makeup room. I mean, I remember Tish and Yolanda and Liz and Renee, you know, giving us the 411 on, you know, sex ed and condoms and everything.
Romance was inevitable for the young cast.
You're thrown into a population of 20 people. You work with them. They're all really attractive. They're talented. They're interesting. They're all from different places. And then you put them in an apartment complex together at the end of the day with a hot tub.
I remember having my first kiss on the Mickey Mouse Club with Jason Miner in the dressing room.
I had a crush on Tony, and we were all sitting in the room. It was Tony, Rona, Dale. Rona was sitting on the chair, and I wanted to be cool, and I wanted to impress them, and so I said, Rona, stay still, stay still. So I had the most stupid idea to do a roundhouse kick around her head, and I had combat boots on, and I kicked her in the head in front of everyone. Trying to impress the boy, it didn't work.
But Tony was already taken.
Carrie and I, we met sort of day one. We dated for most of the time that we were on the show. We had our thing, and everyone just kind of quietly respected it, and we didn't, you know, flaunt it all over the studios. We didn't, nothing like that. But yeah, we were reaching for something a little more adult.
Christina and Brittany will tell you right off the bat they all had crushes on Tony Lucca, and they all wanted to be like Kerry Russell because she was big and grown up and famous, and she was Tony Lucca's girlfriend.
Spears connected with another mouse instead.
The Brittany and Justin thing seemed pretty inevitable. They were pretty cute.
I was pretty infatuated with her. And looking back on it, it definitely had this great expectations vibe to it.
They spent all their time together. Brittany was really adorable. Justin was also really adorable. But I mean, Brittany was just like your all-American girl next door, yes ma'am, no ma'am, would sit there so obediently and just wait for her time to do something, you know. And Justin was way more aggressive and spunky and just all over the place.
I'm afraid that camera can't shut up.
We were all at my house one night playing, I don't remember what we were playing. I think it was Truth or Dare or one of those, you know, spin the bottle games, and somebody dared them to kiss, and they did.
I think I did give her her first kiss.
The kids weren't the only ones going through changes. For season 7, the show got another makeover.
The name kind of officially became MMC.
They revamped the whole set. They were making it more, they told us what they wanted to make it was more of a Saturday Night Live feel.
It actually, Mickey Mouse wasn't in the logo anymore. The show had kind of evolved and grown to a little bit older audience, and they thought the 14-year-old want to see Mickey Mouse, or they want to see the cool kids on a Disney program.
The Mouseketeers were growing up. In June 1994, Disney helped them celebrate a milestone.
They gave us a nice little surprise, us being the 5 of us that were in the class of '94. It was me, Mark Warden, JC, Rona, and Carrie Russell. And they gave us all caps and gowns and did a little ceremony in front of the studio audience, and Chuck gave the benediction speech.
There are stories we all could tell. I gave a big formal speech recounting their whole career. We had their diplomas. They came up, received their diplomas one-on-one, and traditional throwing of the caps in the air, hugs and kisses and tears, and all the parents were there, and it was just very special.
It was one of those moments where you're just like, oh, wow, I'm graduating high school, so it's in front of a studio audience and a 5-camera shoot. Okay, why wouldn't it be?
Good luck, and Godspeed you on your journey.
At the same time, the mice were becoming more rebellious.
There's really only so much you can do to try and control a bunch of teenagers with raging hormones and curiosities and, you know, a sense of experiment and adventure. And towards the end of it, we were just kind of like looking for, you know, I don't say a way out, but just go on, fire me. Let's you know, mix it up here. That's something interesting, you know.
If being angry was cool, or challenging authority was their version of being grown up and cool, that's what they were gonna do. They were just restless, you know, and it's completely natural, especially at that age. You know, it's hard to ask a teenager who's almost able to vote, if not drink, to stay in this kind of family type of show when they want to grow up and be an adult. It's hard to ask them to do that on camera.
By fall 1994, Disney was ready to cut the kids loose.
They brought us into this one room, and all the executives were there. It was all of us. It was just the cast, no parents, and the executives. And basically they just said, hey, you know, unfortunately the show is not gonna continue. It's a wrap, and you guys are gonna have to move on.
And at that point, we had done 315 half-hour shows. So they clearly had more than enough to run it for several years. I think it was just simply economics.
The news affected everyone differently.
I was so upset, and it was so devastating because being young and just knowing all that, it's kind of like saying, okay, what am I supposed to do now?
And at that point, I'd been on the show for 6 years. So, I mean, that was the bulk of my childhood right there. I started when I was 10 and finished when I was 16. So that's a long time to spend, you know, in front of a camera.
You know, I remember I was sitting next to Dale, and we just, you know, she gave us the news, and we're like doing all we can to just contain our smiles for some reason, you know, because again, I think we were just ready for what's next. We started to catch wind of what was out here in Hollywood. Oh man, we gotta get out of here. Go on to greener pastures. It was time. It was definitely time. This really was just the beginning of what was to come.
It was the right time for me. Some of the newer Mouseketeers, like Brittany and Justin, would comment on how they didn't get enough time to be on the show.
There's a picture floating around. It was me and Brittany were crying like so hard on one of the other Mouseketeers' shoulders.
We were ready to continue. Very disappointed, and I think it was ironic because, you know, one of the reasons that I heard for them canceling the show was that they didn't feel that the 7 new kids were strong enough to continue it on. I find that funny because that would have been myself, Justin, Brittany, Christina, Ryan Gosling, Nikki DeLoach, and Tate, and plenty of talent there to continue the show.
Coming up, keeping up with Christina.
I'd had a lot of fans that had followed with me from when I was on the Mickey Mouse Club. I think people will see a different side of me.
By 1995, the MMC was off the air. Out of work, the Mouseketeers went their separate ways. Some returned home to finish school. Others continued to chase stardom.
You can almost see their path, the fire that they left behind them as they were trying to blaze a trail as quickly as possible to the next high, to the next show that would challenge them.
All the kids were allowed to have their talents nurtured in such a profound way during the course of the show that they came out of it really ready.
Justin Timberlake got in touch with his friend and fellow Mouseketeer, J.C. Chazé.
So Justin called me up and he's like, you know, my buddy Chris wants to start a group, and since him and I were already writing songs together and it was only natural, I was like, sure.
Justin and J.C. joined forces with Chris Kirkpatrick, Lance Bass, and Joey Fatone to form NSYNC.
There's something about this group, there's something about these guys that is just perfect.
In late 1997, the boy band signed with RCA.
Justin had that special star quality because he could sing great, he did great riffs, he had the attention span that you need in this business, especially work hard, hard dedication.
NSYNC fever swept Europe and quickly spread across the United States. In 1998, the band embarked on its first American tour.
Britney ended up being an opening act on the first tour that we had that was of substantial size.
After the MMC, 13-year-old Britney Spears went home to Louisiana. But normal life was too slow for the young performer.
I got bored and I wanted to sing again. So my lawyer in New York, I called him up. I was like, is there anything I can do? You know, he was like, pop music is coming back really strongly. And he said, I think it would really make sense for you to try and get a record deal.
Britney made a beeline for New York, where she landed a recording contract with Jive Records. Her first single, Baby One More Time, hit #1 in January 1999.
I think of this as my job, you know, is to sing, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Her other passion, NSYNC's frontman.
I don't think I was that surprised that Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake became a couple, because the kids on the show really supported each other. They stayed in touch for years. She had a sort of self-possessed quality, as I think did Justin Timberlake, and that may be where they connected.
You know, it's been nice to be right there with her, to help and watch her and be her, you know, biggest cheerleader.
After dating for 3 years, the couple split in 2002. Timberlake also went solo in the recording studio. His album, Justified, won rave reviews.
He knew what he wanted. He knew exactly the direction he wanted to go, and he was following it.
Christina Aguilera wasn't far behind. Post-MMC, the 13-year-old returned to Pittsburgh, but not for long. In 1998, Christina received a call from RCA Records.
They're like, we want you to fly out. I auditioned for him on the spot, and we said, congratulations, you got the job. And then everything started rolling from there.
Aguilera's first single, Genie in a Bottle, was released in June 1999 and stayed at #1 for 5 weeks. Her self-titled album also debuted at the top of the charts.
I'd had a lot of fans that had followed with me from when I was on the Mickey Mouse Club. So I get really positive responses. I think people will see a different side of me.
They wanted to package her as this like innocent teen with a little bit of sexiness.
With Christina and Britney battling it out on the charts, the press went to work reporting on a so-called feud between the two former Mouseketeers.
Me and Britney, we were best friends way back on the set of the Mickey Mouse Club, and it's crazy that the press wants to create such rivalry and competition, and people say that we catfight and everything. When me and Britney see each other, we have nothing but good things to say to each other. You know, it's always good to see Britney, and I'm so proud of her for going on after the Mickey Mouse Club, and you know, I know she's inspiring a lot of young girls out there.
There was plenty of success to go around. In 2000, Christina took home the music industry's highest honor.
Winning a Grammy was absolutely incredible, and I'm still floating on air because of it.
For Christina, each new album was an opportunity to change her style and broaden her range. The pop diva also found happiness in her private life. In 2005, Aguilera married her longtime boyfriend, music executive Jordan Bratman. Their relationship inspired her third album, Back to Basics.
When it's the right man, when it's the right person, you know, just like my first single says, ain't no other man. So a very exciting, very happy time in my life.
But not every ex-Mouseketeer wanted to be a pop star.
The other big surprise, pleasant surprise, was Ryan Gosling.
Ryan segued into acting on TV series like Young Hercules and Breaker High. Then he shed his Mickey Mouse image for good as a homicidal teenager in the big screen thriller Murder by Numbers.
It has nothing to do with the dark side or being attracted to that or anything. It's more about like a lot of Hollywood's idea of reality, you know. It doesn't really have anything to do with my reality.
After appearing in The Notebook, Gosling became one of the hottest young actors in Hollywood. Then, in 2007, Ryan's dramatic performance in Half Nelson made him a contender for the ultimate prize.
That little kid's nominated for an Oscar. You just don't think about those kind of things when you're making a little kid's comedy sketch. It's like, oh yeah, probably dramatic actor, Oscar nomination. And boom, he's done it.
MMC sweethearts Kerry Russell and Tony Lucca also set their sights on Hollywood.
We're living out here pursuing acting roles, and which is a tough thing to do as a couple living together.
In late 1995, Kerry and Tony both got cast on the short-lived primetime soap Malibu Shores. Then, Russell landed her breakthrough role on the hit series Felicity.
I said this, and I'll keep saying it. I'm sorry.
1 year later, she won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Dramatic Series.
Wow, what a whirlwind. How has it changed my life? You know, I've met a lot of incredibly talented people, and I think the biggest thing is just, you know, just being proud of something that you're doing, which I don't think many people find, and that's why doing Felicity has been such an experience for me.
Russell's romance with Tony Lucca didn't last, but the TV star made the leap to the big screen in blockbuster films like Mission Impossible 3.
I'm so proud of Carrie. I mean, she's been so successful, and she's done it the right way, and she's been so smart about it.
Russell's also been lucky in love. On Valentine's Day 2007, the 30-year-old married contractor Shane Deary. She was pregnant with their first child.
Very excited, very excited.
For all the former Mouseketeers, life after the MMC was full of possibility.
There were so many talented kids on that show. I mean, there were about 20 of us as cast members, ranging from ages, Brittany was the youngest, age 11, to the oldest being of like 20. So there's so much talent yet to come out of that show. I know it. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see.
Coming up, an embarrassing encounter.
I'm secretly dying, thinking to myself, we used to be on this kid TV show together, and now I'm bringing you your cream spinach. Strange as it may seem, some Mouseketeers are desperate. That's why I and some of my friends have formed the charitable organization we like to call Mouse Anonymous.
In the 1990s, the all-new Mickey Mouse Club spawned several music megastars, but some of the other mice struggled for their big break.
I think the kids who have not become as famous as those, as the Brittany, Christina said, are basically more talented than some of the ones who made it.
Dee Dee Magno Hall transitioned from TV to stage.
We're at the Hippodrome Theater in Baltimore, Maryland, with the show Wicked, the musical, which is a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. And I play Nessa Rose, which is one of the witches, sister to the Green Witch. I'm just grateful for just being able to work and being able to tour with my husband and have our son with us and get to travel the country. So, and doing this awesome show.
Teen hunk Tony Lucca tried to capitalize on his Disney fame. Then he had a moment of clarity.
I was in an audition one time, and it was like I was in a waiting room with 12 other Tony Luccas. You know, on paper, we were pretty much the same damn dude. So I went home, picked up my guitar, and there it was.
Yes, we just might be meant to be. You just might come back.
I am 4 records deep into sort of an indie artist career, post-Mouse Club. I've been touring the country coast to coast for the last few years and working with other indie artists and friends of mine out here in LA.
One of them is fellow Mouseketeer Chasen Hampton.
I sing his background vocals, he sings mine. He plays guitar on my album, he helps produce it. Whatever we gotta do, we do it, you know. Just to keep helping each other out. It's like a family.
Between gigs, Chasen teaches singing at LA's School of Rock and works on his own songs.
Well, I actually just finished my new CD. Just honed in on my music and just tried to figure out, you know, where do I fit in, where's my style? Well, who's Chase? What's he sound like, you know? And I think this new CD is gonna do it.
And if times are bad, girl, I know you'll find that it's time to take a little journey and go find yourself this time, yeah.
Mylin hit the music scene too, across the Pacific.
Ended up getting a record deal with a major label in Japan and ended up releasing 4 albums there, and so I had an amazing experience.
Her 5th album is American Girl.
I've been touring. I did a couple shows with Nick Lachey. I opened for Beth Hart. I opened for Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band. I've also got to play a lot of military bases. I'm a big supporter of the military.
Other mice took some time off. Jennifer McGill finished high school.
I wanted a break. I've been a professional for 6 years, and I hadn't even turned 18 yet.
McGill attended New York University, but she couldn't wait to be back in the spotlight.
I most recently sang on the Norwegian Cruise Line's Pride of Hawaii, and I was there for about a year, and basically we had a Broadway review and a soul rock and pop rock review. Don't let me So pretty much I've spent the last year on vacation touring Hawaii, and I met my fiance on the ship.
The couple plans to set up house in New York City, where Jennifer intends to audition for Broadway.
But I'm about to rehash all over again a deep love for musical theater and live performance. You know, it's really just about being in front of a crowd and singing something and meaning what you sing.
She's got, still has the most astonishing voice in the world. It's a big, wonderful Broadway voice, and I hope good things are going to happen to her.
Like Jennifer, Lindsay Alley continued her education and returned to real life in Lakeland, Florida.
Threw myself into everything I could possibly throw myself into in high school. Joined all the service clubs and really tried to get back some of those years that I had sort of lost doing the Mouse Club.
Alley graduated from college in 2000 and moved to Manhattan. That's where she reunited with her pals Carrie Russell and Ilana Miller.
Kind of like this inseparable New York girl gang ever since.
Lindsay worked as a waitress to make ends meet. Then, one day, she served an important customer, her old castmate, Justin Timberlake.
He was gracious and charming and delightful. But of course, internally, I'm secretly dying, thinking to myself, we used to be on this kid TV show together, and now I'm bringing you your cream spinach. I couldn't feel more embarrassed. But I know he wasn't thinking that.
Lindsay wasn't landing the roles she wanted, so she decided to create her own.
I had been working with Steve Weiner on this one-woman show, and he brought in a musical director, Bob Stein, and over the course of the last 4 years, we had this really cute skit, and it's called Look Ma, No Ears, and it basically chronicles transitioning from this kid actor into this adult actor and how hard it is.
I got seasoned math, I flunked home ec. Before I took a test, I'd always genuflect. You wouldn't want to be the frog that I dissect, but I can do Broadway.
TJ Fantini graduated from high school in Anacortes, Washington, and briefly pursued higher education.
I went to college for a little while, but that wasn't for me. No, I knew I was going for a career in entertainment ever since I was born. So I said, you know, I think I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. So I got my guitar, I got my amplifier, my keyboard, a suitcase, some food, and I moved and lived in a hotel for a few days. I found this place, I was looking on the internet, and boy, their brochure was nice. But look, it's the Disney Channel building right there, right below me.
TJ pays the bills working as an assistant at a mega talent agency in LA. But he's still focused on making his mark in music.
I am still seeking out my dream of finishing my record and becoming a world-renowned superstar, of course. The best is yet to come.
Got to say, oh yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful day, beautiful day.
After struggling as a performer in TV and film, Damon Pampolina found a fresh outlet for his talent on the World Wide Web.
Right now, I'm proud to announce StreetNetwork.tv. It is a vehicle for all aspiring artists, dancers, directors, rappers, singers, models to post their talent online, which will obviously be seen worldwide. It's a MySpace, if you will, but strictly for artists and aspiring, what have you, in the entertainment industry.
Hollywood hasn't seen the last of Damon yet.
Would love to try to get back into the acting thing, you know, and get back into the industry. I've taken a few years off, but we want to get back in it and continue this legacy that's been going on.
David Cater also gave showbiz a go, but ultimately chose a steadier path.
I said, you know, I can't be 35 to 40, you know, kind of chasing, you know, going from audition to audition.
Cater found peace of mind in mortgage real estate.
I understand the passion and make it work and make it big and actually achieve your dream. But before that happens, why not supplement with something else, you know? Have that stability. So by a certain age, I kind of just had to diversify.
But David still continues to work on his music.
And I'll be cool. 21 days, that's all I need to make it through. 21 days to get out this day.
Ricky Luna Torres performs his own music, but he also writes and produces songs for up-and-coming musicians.
I have my own company called Low Soul Music. We service mostly hip-hop artists. Right now I'm working on a Latin compilation that features some of the top hip-hop Latin artists in the States.
Ricky draws from his own experience to help his clients.
I'm working with all this young talent, and they can count on me as far as guiding them to success. So that's the overall beauty of the whole experience from outside to here. It's that the knowledge is priceless.
Coming up, Britney on the brink.
It looked as if she had said, "You want a meltdown, America? Here's your meltdown."
For the ex-Mouseketeers of the 1990s, there was life after the MMC, from the highs of fame to the lows of bad press. Since hitting it big in 1998, Britney Spears' every move was aggressively scrutinized in the tabloids.
In recent years, her image has really taken some serious hits. Chewing gum with the low-cut outfit and just, not really looking like a star, not really acting like a star. And I don't know, maybe that's who she is organically. Maybe she always wanted to be sort of country girl, down home kind of Britney.
After her public split with husband Kevin Federline in 2006, the paparazzi really turned up the heat on the 25-year-old mother of two.
That's what happens. Like, she's growing up in front of the cameras. You have no choice, It's just the way it is. You get caught doing stuff you don't want to do or don't want people seeing.
Then the whole shaving of the head incident, it looked as if she had said, "Okay, you want a breakdown? You want a meltdown, America? Here's your meltdown." From that moment on, that this was no longer a joke. It was time to stop laughing at Britney Spears, and it was time to start worrying about Britney Spears.
According to Britney's manager, Larry Rudolph, Spears checked herself into the Promises Rehab Clinic in Malibu in early 2007. Her millions of fans hoped for the best.
I think she's really got the public on her side. I think that most people feel like she's had a lot of trouble in recent years. They want to see her come back and be beautiful and successful. Because unlike a lot of women who are just famous for being famous, Britney Spears actually has talent.
Britney has a very special place in my heart. She was a very, very dear friend of mine at a very young age. I know that she is an amazing person and that she will pull through her struggles in the best way she can.
Meanwhile, the Mickey Mouse Club remains a bright spot in television history and in the lives of the Mouseketeers.
It was a really happy, wonderful time of my life.
We experienced some incredible adventures together, and we have such fond memories with each other and the things that we did.
I didn't realize the show was as popular as it was until I was way past it. This had an impact on people that I was totally unaware of, and it stayed with them through their entire lives.
Everything that we were doing was on the cutting edge.
And for the mice, the MMC was more than a variety show. It was a life-shaping experience.
There's not one thing I can take from it. It's the experience of it all is beyond words. Like the places I've gotten to go, we've toured the world, played Asia, we've played castles in the Isle of Wight. I mean, it's insane, I don't know how ever that could have happened without that.
It means something special because how many people can say, I was a Mouseketeer? And I take from that the profound I can't believe it was me, one in a million kind of feeling that I was the one they chose. That is now going to stay with me for my entire life.
Some of us have, have reached amazing goals that no one in our like time frame, no one's ever been able to do. And it had a lot to do with the show.
To say that I was a part of that, that's cool, man. It's really cool. And to say that I worked with and encouraged and possibly even inspired some of these kids that are out there doing some things that they're doing now, as they have inspired me, is wonderful.
When you're 12, 13 years old, and you're an aspiring artist, and you get into that environment, and then you're doing it every day, yeah, it's no surprise that some of the biggest pop stars in the world right now came from that nucleus, came from that show. It's an honor. It's an honor to be a part of that.
Kill me.
Thank you very much. We're all fired.